Why are you at Stand in the Park today in Kings Lynn?
Well, I'm here today to support the NHS and the poor people that have been threatened with losing their jobs.
And how do you feel about how they're going to be sacked potentially if they aren't?
Well, it's a clear, it's a clear attack on freedom and freedom of choice and the choice of what medicine you are, or of what medicine that you can put in your bodies, and I think that is despicable.
And how do you feel about the lack of mainstream media coverage throughout it all?
Well, I think the mainstream media are working to a script, and that anything that doesn't meet with their script, they will not publish.
And what do you believe is the hidden narrative, or hidden agenda, sorry?
Well, the hidden agenda is in debate in a certain amount of ways, but I think if you look at the fact that the is not testing for that the figures of the deaths are being misrepresented, the cases are being misrepresented, and the are not and are experimental, and that anyone who knows anything about the subject knows that, you can only conclude that it's a very, very bad agenda that's going on. So I conclude from it that they're trying to kill everyone.
And how do you feel about them 5 to 11-year-olds and 12 to 15-year-olds?
I feel as bad about that as anyone without,
No, that's okay.
without informed consent. Children can't give informed consent. Parents are responsible for those children until they're adults. So the parents are in charge of whether or not those children should have and those parents should be given informed consent. But they're not being given informed consent because the information is being censored. And the governments themselves are aware of the data, and you can go and find the data in the various government organisations. But when you turn the telly on, they're not talking about that data. They are blatantly lying about it.
And how do you feel about how travel restrictions with or testing?
Yeah, well, again, the requirement to have a to travel is another coercion on informed consent. People rely on travelling for business, etc. So if they're travelling about, you can assume they've all had the. I mean, if we were talking about a real dangerous, which I do not believe this has been, then I would support any rational reasons to safeguard people. But when the media needs and the government needs to fudge all the figures to make it look worse than it is, that then begs the question, why are they doing that and what are the real figures? I mean, if disappeared all but last year, so I don't think nobody got last year. I think the same amount of people got last year as they do every year. They just got redesignated as. Then the figures, like in the newspaper here, they said 537 people have died at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital since the outbreak of with. Well, that's not of with. 400 of them could have died with red nail polish on. They didn't die of red nail polish, they just happened to have red nail polish on when they died. So unless we can get to the bottom of what the real figures are, we cannot trust anything the government's saying, because by simple thought you can come to the conclusion that if the figures are being lied about and misrepresented, then why is that occurring?
And how do you feel about Gillick's competence being reduced?
Sorry?
Gillick's competence being reduced in
Well,
age.
yeah, you see, that again is to bring in the I'm stuttering a bit.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. I think what's happening there is that the whole informed consent is under attack, and so therefore any way the state can gain control over those not able to make decisions in the current set of standards, if they can erode that to then take over that, then they're going to do that's for sure. And so, for instance, going into schools, putting pressure on the kids, teaching the kids, about and the fear and all the rest of it, when all the facts show that the kids aren't at risk at all, virtually, of getting ill or dying of this, then why should so much fear be placed on them? I think it's tantamount to abuse.
Thank you.